Okay, guys, so let's talk about this Taurus new moon. The energy it's touchy. It's got a lot of breakthroughs in it, but it's also very touchy. It takes place on May 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, there's so much good energy here. It's ripe for a breakthrough. The challenge is the way that it's also speaking to Chiron and Eris by semi-sextile. These two are really hard to ignore because of the way that they cause people to project their hurt feelings, project their expectations, project their needs, project their deficiencies onto other people to become responsible for, to make up for, to be accountable for when it's really about them. Even though this new moon is in a fixed sign, the sign of Taurus, you can see over here there's a high level of placements in cardinal signs, which means there's a lot of new beginnings. There's new beginnings simply because it is a new moon. But when cardinal energy is so heavily featured at one of these lunations, it's indicative of the fact that there's initiation in the atmosphere, trying on something new. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kay Moon. I'm a Western astrologer and twin flame channel, and this is a video about this Taurus new moon where we're going to take a deep dive into what to expect, what the energies are like, and why you may be feeling or noticing a little intensity as we move into this Taurus new moon. We see this new moon conjunct Ceres, Mercury, and Uranus over here in the sign of Taurus, Uranus in the sign of Gemini. The conjunction to Ceres is indicative of a new beginning because of a third dimensional closure of a long standing way of valuing yourself, your resources of time, money, or energy, or closing out a long-standing way of viewing your self-worth and your self-value. Some sort of pattern in the way you share yourself, present yourself, or share of your resources is changing at this time. And as this change unfolds, it may come out of nowhere, it may feel out of the blue, may not have even been planned. Uranus speaking to this new moon certainly indicates some of the suddenness and the unexpectedness of the way this is unfolding. You guys have seen me more on camera in the month of May. If you followed me around the internet in any capacity, than you've ever seen me on camera in the totality of my career on YouTube. That was not planned. It was not intentional. It just something in me just shifted around some of this. Further, I'm watching many of my Star Club members reporting movement with a counterpart as a result of just witnessing some of these shifts because they're valuing themselves differently, they're moving differently, and thus the connections responding differently. I also have several Star Club members just starting the process of taking initiation to work differently in the third dimension, to initiate, to get new things, to have new things, to use their resources in new ways. Some of you have heard these stories on the different podcasts that I've been on leading up to this new moon. But if not, you'll see some of them over in the community section of this channel. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here. But this new energy is really about shaking up old patterns concerning the way we've operated in the third dimension when it comes to our self-worth, our self-esteem, the way we value ourselves, and allow other people to value us. Even the way we allow other people to perceive us is up for a massive change at this particular time. The conjunction here to Mercury is opening up communication and new ideas with this conjunction to Uranus as well. So you may get a lot of news or new news and new information concerning these topics, certainly beauty or fashion, but more than that, about the way you, again, are presenting yourself, showing yourself, you may just be inclined to change things up. I certainly was. Like I said, it wasn't planned, it wasn't strategic or intentional. It's just like, okay, let's just try this thing. Let's just do this thing. And shout out to Aso Tarot. I have to give it to her. When we did Cards and Stars last year, and I co-taught alongside of her. One of her conditions was, nope, we need to be on camera when we teach. It's just going to be a better experience for everyone all around. And I've taken that into Star Club. And when I am teaching my classes with my Star Clubbers, I'm frequently quite visible there for them in conversation and communication. We see that this change is happening fast and faster with Uranus in the position that he's in, conjunct this new moon for all of us, especially with regard to third dimensional changes with the things I just mentioned. It's just something that's happening, whether you mean for it to or not. And again, for some of you, this newness is with regard to money, financial status, things that are changing financially for you with regard to money spent, money earned, or you could even say assets here. And then we also see a semi-sextile to Mars conjunct Chiron and Eris in Aries. And this is where things take a turn. So here's Mars, here's Chiron, here's Eris. All three of them are in the sign of Aries, which is the sign of the individual, the sign of the self, the sign of behavior and action taking. This conversation, these three are part of an ongoing ego restructuring happening collectively. With Jupiter opposite Pluto this year, that opposition has yet to take place. We're coming into that the closer Jupiter gets to Leo, massive ego restructuring. So we're going to talk about it more when we get there. But this is sort of a prelude and a preamble with Mars, Chiron, and Eris in the sign of Aries sextiling, semi-sextiling this new moon and the sign that deals with our self-worth and self-esteem. This component speaks to of a restructuring of action based on way showership. Chiron is the leader in this pack here. Chiron specifically deals with being a healer, a teacher, and a guide for others when you're not completely compromised by your own wounds and your own issues. The Martian component enables you to take action on being that way shower for others and having the courage to change when action has come from compromised identity patterns. A compromised identity pattern for me is that I can just be paranoid, like just plain and simple, like just straight up. I'm just paranoid for like no reason, like ultra private for like no reason and every reason at the same time. I've definitely had, my share of stalker issues in the past where, I've told people like leave me alone, put it in writing, and they just can't let it go. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should look at that in my chart, but it's part of why I have been so private on the internet, among many, many other reasons. That being said, the other morning I was brushing my teeth and I had this thought just randomly occur to me from my higher self as I looked in the mirror. And it was just, girl, you are not that important to the plot. I'm going to need you to relax. And I had to chuckle at myself and all of my paranoid delusions about bad things that could happen, things I was like trying to protect myself against. Because it's true, some of us have such an idea of like, gotta be safe, gotta protect myself. There's too many things that could get me. And when I really, like, my higher self really brought that awareness to bear for me, it was this awakening. Like, do you understand how much other people are growing through right now? You are no one central axis. Chill. And that's this configuration right here's reminder for all of us. Eris and Chiron, they tag team and overlap with the frequency of victimization, but the victimization comes from the self. It's the sign of Aries, which deals with the self. And then when you add Mars to their combination, what you end up getting is then taking action on the self-victimization. And I'm just laughing because I'm like, okay, yeah, it's true, Kay. You may have maybe um you may have really lost the plot a little bit and figured out, thank God you figured it out in time, that you're just not that important to it. Chill. And so, where you find yourself at this new moon in any sort of lament concerning being left out, being excluded, being disenfranchised, thank you, Chiron and Eris. That's the theme that they have in common in their mythological narrative. And then you see Mars prepared to take action on it. The invitation is to give it a laugh. It just, nothing is truly all that serious at this point for many of us. Now, for some of us, it is like, right, for some people who really are going through some significant hardship on the planet at this time, it is necessary to take stock in a very different way. But if you're like me and you just have paranoid thoughts, then yeah, you can chill. And this is your reminder to chill because as these three align and then also speak to this new moon from a position of the semi-sextile, the impetus to do things that ratchet up the performativity of self-protection or projection of your own self-victimization is going to be loud to the point where it's comical. And this serves a defined purpose. The purpose is to have you arrive at the same point I arrived at. Like, maybe you can chill and just step into way showership instead. How about that? How about you just take the next step in your journey concerning your capacity to lead and guide those who are in your proximity instead of worrying so much about self? That's the invitation you can take with these. Okay, so, and just in whatever way that resonates for you, right? For me, it was just like, okay, take this step to just be more visible and just see what happens. Like, allow it to be what it is, put out some bold asks, step into self-ownership, self-possession, self-sovereignty, take some actions around making yourself more visible, see what happens, and see whose lives you can change, whose life you can impact with that. Very simple, very basic. Aries is about the self. Aries is also about action. This is the kind of thing that can move the needle when it comes to allowing your life to move forward, your business to move forward, your entrepreneurship to move forward at the time of this Taurus new moon, your career to move forward. I coached someone earlier today in an astrological reading in Star Club. She's got the membership type where readings come with it. And we talked in depth about how, one of the ways out of personal worry and fear is to put your attention elsewhere on how you can be of service. And so this is one of the options and opportunities to mitigate this energy here. I'm also seeing that this energy is showing up as other corrective and other policing as well-meaning, where when we feel victimized, instead of dealing with our own issues directly, we go about the process of policing other people and asking them to be smaller or not live their lessons or find their own way when it comes to their own corrective lessons. We take it upon ourselves to show them their corrective lessons. Again, another example, I was working with somebody today in a reading and doing a counterpart reading for them. And the chart she was asking, like, well, where are our access points to greater love and greater union? And the chart was screaming from like across the board, her chart, their chart, the chart of the union. You're going to have to step out of being the spiritual scaffolding here. You're going to need to allow this to unfold and put your attention on your own life. And so, where you've got too much attention on others, your kids, your boss, your coworker, your neighbor, your father, your mother, your sibling, and what they quote unquote should be doing, this combination here is asking you to return the view and the gaze to self. What can you look at about yourself? How is this a mirror that's really showing up for you in terms of where you can take the beam out of your own eye instead of worrying so much about the speck in your brother's eye? So something to consider there as well. This also speaks to clarifying where we've played it small because of identity wounds, where we have a story about ourselves. And we're like, oh, I can't do XYZ because of A, B, and C that happened in the past, and limiting the future based on um, past failures creates a guarantee that the future replicates and mirrors with exact precision the past instead of opening up new possibilities in the present. So I say that to say, um, anywhere you've avoided taking action and then suffered the consequence of being compromised because of either an action you've taken or a non-action, like you waited too long and nothing happened, especially with regard to retaliatory action and inaction, where we have acted on our victim stories and retaliated against other people. This is going to be a corrective energy. So we can start to take action and see our ambitions from a place of who do I want to be? Not just who do I want to be as a result of what happened to me, but who do I want to be if I had a completely clean slate? Redefining ourselves for ourselves is a big component of 2026. And many of you are really already living into that. This particular stop on the journey, the new moon in Taurus, with this aspect here, is reminding us by blowing out of proportion where we feel a bit like a victim. Hey, you don't have to go so hard on yourself. You can lighten up. This can be easier. Um, you don't have to project so much of the past onto your future. You can ease up. So if you find yourself in any element of wallowing, um, this is your gentle reminder to loosen the grip. Okay. We also see here a sextile to this new moon from Nessus here, Vesta here, and Neptune here inside of Aries. This opens up a lot of intuition about ourselves, our next step, our value in the world, and the actions that we need to take to move across life's chessboard. The insight and the intuition is going to be on fire, and the impetus to move is going to be loud. There's a lot of open intuition here where you're in flow state because Taurus deals with the body, and that's where the new moon is here in the sign of Taurus. And Aries deals with action, and that's where Vesta and Neptune are, and Neptune specifically deals with intuition. Body-based intuition is going to open up here. So exercise, walking, movement, dance, repetitive or redundant physical activities. These will open up a sense of intuition about your best next move in the third dimension. So if something has been calling to you, whatever that is, move to Texas, quit this job, open that peanut business. Sell those balls, those Nerf balls, basketballs or footballs. Start your athletics company, whatever it is. If this continues to get louder as we walk toward this Taurus new moon, understand that it is because life and your body are speaking to you about where you're supposed to be this year. And this is one of the times that's really right for taking that next step. These are also really great aspects for humanitarian efforts. They can succeed now in ways they may have been thwarted before. And this energy is also really ideal for higher level spiritual mission work, whatever that means to you. This can create some magnetism around your mission, call in the right people, the right resources to give you the support for where you're headed. So I like to see that. It's a really beautiful energy at this Taurus new moon. There's a very, very loose trine to Pluto for this Taurus new moon. It's loose because it's 10 degrees. 10 degrees, some astrologers wouldn't even count. Nevertheless, I do because I understand how sensitive this community is. This allows us to come into contact with our own power to make things happen. These manifestation stories that I've been posting from Manifestation Mastery and people who've enrolled and from Star Club, they're not a fluke. So if you caught any of them on the live that preceded this week on Allie's live or over in the community section of this channel, it's in the energy for people to be starting to access more of their personal power. And Pluto is one of the ways that this is happening at this time. I've been sharing these stories to empower you, even if you don't sign up for Manifestation Mastery, and you absolutely should. Doors close on Friday at 11:59 p.m. Your access to your own power has been amplified in this atmosphere, and at this new moon especially. So I'm going to encourage you to use it. Use it. Use your power at this time to make things happen. Now, manifestation mastery in particular is where you're going to learn how to refine this power. As this magic is with us, there's a specific transit in the sky that doesn't pertain to this new moon, but just want to give you a quick heads up in case you've missed me talking about it. Uranus is coming, sorry, Jupiter is coming into a perfected sextile with Uranus. It's not there yet. It's got 9 degrees left. When they come into sextile, a little bit more like 10, 11 degrees, when they come into sextile, the exact sextile is in June. It does open a manifestation window. This is why I've reopened Manifestation Mastery. Learning how to have focus and mastery with your manifestations, that's going to make this year the year you break through in work, in love, and in money. I extended one more day to give other communities just learning about manifestation mastery a chance to join, but spaces are limited and we are almost at capacity. So if I hit capacity before tomorrow night, at the time of this recording, which will be Friday night, May 15th at 11:59 p.m., then I'm going to close the doors. And that's just so that I can have a little quality control around the Q&A sessions during the live event. Okay, that said, this is your invitation to join now. Do it quickly, given how this moment of breakthrough is upon us, and the universe is rewarding bold action with Mars in the sign of Aries. Bold action and Mars specifically speaking to Uranus, throwing caution to the wind as you take said action. This is actually going to have huge, huge rewards, especially because Chariklo, which brings blessing, is speaking to the two of these. So astrologically, even if you're not sure, astrologically promises that there will be reward in showing up for class at this time. Chariklo brings blessings through intercession, and she is square this new moon. Link to join is below this video, by the way. And it's the intercession of community. It's community having your back. So I do love to see that. I think that's an important element and aspect of these times that we're living through is being able to tap into a community that supports you. We see a semi-sextile to Venus for this new moon, and there's Venus there in Gemini. This is going to cause us to be magnetized toward exploring more of our desires, seeing what's possible with what we want, being in communication about what we want, not being completely fixed, but being open to potential. Jupiter sextile this new moon. This is amplifying everything I just shared and blowing it up 110%. So I love to see this. I think this is a very potent and important new moon for breakthrough this year. Normally, fixed new moons aren't the opportunities for breakthrough, but because this one is conjunct Uranus, semi-sextile to Mars, and receiving a sextile from Jupiter, this is what's allowing there to be so much momentum in the air, so much movement, so much breakthrough in the air. And like I said, if any part of you is in the feels, it's literally because the volume has gotten turned up to such a degree to have you get to a point of self-awareness that you can continue to wallow or you can step into wisdom. Thank you, Chiron and Weisho. That being said, I'm going to get into the signs who are going to feel this most in a moment. I want to let you know what's happening elsewhere in the sky. I do a deep dive on this segment in Star Club with a lunar circle every time we have one of these lunations. And I break down what these elements mean and how to work with them more directly. But we do see Venus in Gemini here with a semi-sextile to Jupiter. This constitutes one of the best times for love this year. In Star Club, I talked a bit about how to take advantage of that. Venus is also trine Haumea in Scorpio. There's massive resurrection coming when it comes to love and money. For those who've been struggling in this area, there are things to do and things to avoid to have that open up for you. We see a trine to Chariklo in Aquarius here for Venus. Doing the things that you're supposed to do and avoiding the things you're not supposed to be doing, you will find that there is a lot of open doors and open blessings. It's so fascinating. I was just checking in with a close friend of mine before I hit record, and he was telling me that he's been just a place opened up, an apartment or a house opened up for him. He's about to buy the house, but it literally fell in his lap. It came out of nowhere after fighting tooth and nail, like literally for his life. He's in one of the most difficult transits a person can be in right now for the last year. This place, this apartment, or sorry, this house has opened up. He's going to be able to buy it. It's going to mean that he's paying $1,000 less on everything across the board over every single month. And it's also going to allow him, to be closer to his daughter. He's trying to be a really good co-parent and dad. So with that being said, doing what you're supposed to do right now does indeed open up significant blessings. But if you don't know what that is, this period of time can feel like one where things are moving slow or feeling stuck. We talk about what that is inside of Star Club. We have a sextile for Mars, Chiron, and Eris here in Aries, also speaking to Venus. Ooh la la, Venus, 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 you are on fire, girly. This is where things can go kind of sideways. This is where a lot of the projection is unfolding. And in Star Club, I went much deeper on what you're supposed to be doing with that. If people are projecting all over you, or if you are feeling the urge in yourself to be like, you're not doing this for me, and therefore I feel like X, and you should be blah, 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 where that energy is starting to come up, it's actually not going to move the needle at this time, not the way you want it to. Um, I talk about what to be doing instead in Star Club. We also see Jupiter wrapping up transit in Cancer. It is opposite to Pholus. Um, this is where trying to expand old patterns, especially emotional patterns, are gonna cause toxicity and then dig a deeper hole. The square to Chiron and Eris and Mars there in Aries, they're not helping. They're actually making it a lot worse. Um, and so I went into detail about how to avoid implosions and explosions here, because they're certainly on the menu if you don't know what you're doing with this energy. Saturn is in Aries at 10 degrees, and this is probably a bit of a saving grace because it is conjunct Pallas. This is our call to be different, to act different, to behave differently, and to move differently at this particular new moon. And certainly while Saturn remains in Aries for the remainder of this year and into next, we see Saturn is trying to Lilith here in Sagittarius. And this can be good, it can be challenging. It's beneficial in the ways that Lilith needs to have things her way. And those of you who have been people pleasing are going to find that it's not possible in this energy. Those of you who have been steamrolling, on the other hand, are going to find that there are consequences for that in this energy. And I talk about how to get out of the shadow and into the light in both. We see a sextile here for Saturn from Juno and Pluto. This is a conversation that brings about massive, massive, massive transformations in relationships and partnerships. This opens up an insane, unprecedented up level in commitments where they either break open or they break apart, but they will not be staying the same in this energy, especially where it's been too many people involved. So I talked about how to deal with that. We see an opposition to the Shaman's asteroid in Libra for Saturn here. This can make it challenging to really integrate the lessons that you're supposed to be learning in partnership. And I talked about how to navigate that in order to make love and relationship much smoother. Shameless plug, if other transits are of interest to you, then join us in Star Club when it reopens later this month. There are ongoing monthly events, including lunar circles to help you navigate the changing energies with maximum freedom of choice and minimal chaos. Star Club is where you can step into your personal mastery and authority with the energies instead of waiting until they hit and watching them unfold. You get that heads up and allow and journal prompts, ritual work to allow yourself to start to operate with the foresight, wisdom, and intervention to move your life to higher timelines. Links to Star Club are below this video. Signs who are going to feel this most this new moon: Sun, Moon, Rising, and stelliums in late Taurus, early Gemini, late Scorpio, early Sagittarius, late Aquarius, early Pisces, late Leo, early Virgo, and of course, late Capricorn, early Aquarius, late Virgo, early Libra, Virgo, and Aquarius, as you were mentioned twice. This new moon may be especially impactful for you if you have placements there. Now, let's do first look. There's a segment, if you're new here, I do a segment called First Look, where I take a look at the next lunation, and that's coming up from here. The next lunation is going to be the Sagittarius full moon, and let me pull up that chart now so that we can have a look at that together. All right, here we go. Sagittarius new moon. Here's how the energy evolves from the Taurus Sagittarius full moon. Here's how the energy evolves from the new moon in Taurus. Our Sagittarius full moon is taking place here May 31st at 4:44 p.m. You happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Here's my first impression of it. So we see the full moon. It looks like it's conjunct Lilith. Very interesting. So that Frank Sinatra song, My Way, certainly comes to mind as a theme as we head into this Sagittarius full moon. And we also see communication for this full moon from Saturn and Pallas there inside of Aries. We also see who are the other key players? We see the Shaman's asteroid here inside of Libra by sextile, Saturn and Pallas by trine. We see a loose bit of influence here from Juno in Aquarius sextile. And these would be the major ones, the major players. If I had to sum it up as a kind of headline, what I'm seeing here is a lot of people getting very centered in themselves. Now, where people have already been centered in themselves, this can make them very self-centered. But I also see for people, again, who have been of the people-pleasing ilk, this helps really rattle your cage and shake you out of that pattern that has undermined your capacity to receive healthy love and partnership and relationship because you've just been ignoring too much of yourself, your own beliefs, your own needs, your own identity. I see you getting to the breaking point of no mas. We're not doing that anymore at the Sagittarius new moon. Sorry, full moon. There's too much truth in this full moon telling you where you've outgrown certain patterns in partnership. We'll leave it at that here. I'm going to talk more about that when we get closer to this new moon, but I want you to know that for those of you who are in a bit of a funk as we get closer to this full moon, those of you who are in a bit of a funk at the full moon in Taurus, understand that this energy does evolve into something even more intense that allows you to see for yourself where you may have been participating in a lifestyle of self-abdication when it comes to your personal power in your collaborations and connections. Self-abandonment will no longer be an option in 2026. This is one of the full moons that's marking a definitive end to that patterning. So I like to see that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. If you heard something that resonates, please subscribe, hit the like and the share button if you like this. And if you're following me over to the Divine Counterpart Lunar Update, I will see you over there. Thank you so much. Take great care and bye for now.